build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die.
Hello everybody, welcome to Shortbangers. I'm your host Matty, joined tonight by Colin. Colin, how's it going?
Good mate. I'm just hoping I've not got any indigestion. I've rushed my tea down to get this to get seated in time for the start. So apologies for any noises that come out.
I was watching something on YouTube. It's Leslie Nielsen. In fact, it was maybe on Twitter. Leslie Nielsen and how he used to carry a fart machine for his interviews, and it was fucking brilliant. Love Leslie Nielsen. Love Airplane and Naked Gun and all the rest. It's just yeah, they don't do that kind of thing anymore. And also Sam Delaney. Sam, how are you doing?
I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, I love those movies, and I love Leslie Nielsen too. What a legend! And those clips must have been doing the rounds because I remember him turning up on Wogan and doing it once, and like that really stuck in my mind because like Wogan was totally thrown, and I couldn't believe how juvenile. Even as a child watching it, I was like thinking, this can't be right. He can't actually have a fart machine with him. He can't be that juvenile.
Never grew up.
Superb. But, Sam, how's your book launch gone? So, Sort Your Head Out came out?
No, it's not out yet. I just announced its existence really because I finally had the cover and the publishers had announced it and all the rest of it. So that was my opportunity to sort of say this is coming soon, but it's not out until February, although it is available now for pre-order on Amazon or anywhere else. It's called Sort Your Head Out, Mental Health Without All the Bollocks. And yeah, that's it really. It does what it says on the tin. Sort of like kind of memoir, but with an emphasis on mental health and, you know, trying to be a bit sort of plain speaking about that sort of stuff. So yeah, out in February. Pre-order it now, lads.
Yeah, good luck with it. Look forward to reading it. Right, we'll get wired into the questions. Colin, I think this first one's for you. Dylan Starsky asked, perhaps one for Colin. Is it ever acceptable to take pride in competitively aggressively timing each half of an under-12s girls football game to the nanosecond to the chagrin of other parents asking for a friend? This seems very specific, Colin.
This is Darren, not Dylan. Our daughter's playing the same team. And we found his timing wasn't very good, so I started doing it better than him. And he's obviously just a bit peeved about it. But it's funny, like, because it's not that funny. But he would time it, and then we would both forget to time the second half. So we all never knew how long the first half lasted. Second half we'd go, "You started it." Nah, we both forget at the same time. So a bit dull, but I thought that's the that's the story behind that.
I'm glad we kicked off with that one. What do you think of the approach in the World Cup to the stoppage time where they've just decided to play like an extra half hour at the end of each half for when it's gone dead? A fan of that?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of it. The games haven't been that good. I'm a fan of it from a football fan point of view because time wasting is the most irritating part of the game. One of the most irritating parts of the game. Like we've been moaning about it on the football podcast about the head knock thing, pretending to have the back of the head knock and not getting up. So I'm glad it's been added, but the games have been shit. So on the other hand, it's yin yang.
How about you, Sam?
Yeah, I love the idea of it because I've always thought that the whole added time thing was so arbitrary that it was almost insulting. It so clearly wasn't to the second stopping the clock every time there was time wasting that I just always assumed that a ref just sort of plucked a number out of the air that he thought was fair. And that's why fans and managers got the hump about it. Clearly what it suggests now is that they really are stopping it and adding time on every single time there is any sort of stoppage. And I think that's brilliant because it means that you feel it's all a bit more legitimate. Plus, it's so exciting if there's a game on a knife edge and suddenly they say there's 15 minutes left. And it's just a big reveal. And you see one side get raging pissed off and the other side get more spirited. And it just adds an extra element of drama, doesn't it?
And because you don't have then the board, at any of the grounds that have the scoreboard, they'll stop at 90. So you're just guessing when the 10, 11, 12 minutes are.
But have you ever, like, when you're just watching, like, your own team and you're at the stadium and you're a goal up and you're trying to, like, see a game out and you're really nervous when they announce, when the board goes up, do you set your phone?
What if I could
I
do?
You do?
Yeah.
Oh,
I have done it once or twice.
I'm glad you said that because I've never confessed this before, but I do as well. But I'm really embarrassed about it.
it's
'cause
pathetic,
it's
isn't it?
such an anal thing to do. But I don't do it to hold anyone to account. It's not like I'm going to go, actually, referee, you've got it 1 second wrong. Right? It's for my own. It's for my own mental health.
To settle the nerves.
Because it's just too agonizing, isn't it? It is too agonizing when you're trying to see a game out. And at least if you've got a clock, you can almost just focus on that and not on the game, you know?
We did it when we beat Rangers at Hampden last season, Colin, was it? The Boyle
Yeah.
hat trick.
This time last year.
And it went 3-1, so we're 3-0 up by half time, 3-1. Oh, sorry, 3-1 going into half time. The second half, I was coping with the game in 5-minute intervals. Just like if we could get through the next 5 minutes, we just need to do that again and again and again. And that was how I kind of got myself through it.
It's so funny that winning can be almost more painful than losing. The experience of winning. Because in a game like that, and you've got a feeling that the stakes are high, or you think that you've got a big chance of throwing it away, right? And then it's just like the only good moment is the moment when the final whistle goes. Everything between you being a couple of goals up and the final whistle is sort of hell.
It's pain.
Yeah, It really is pain. Yeah.
Do you think it would encourage better play if referees had the power to take time off the game, like to shorten it if it was a shit game, and they were like,
"Yeah, that's a great idea."
They could hold the board up at 80 minutes and just say 2 minutes left. Yeah. And that's it. And then if you want to play the full 90, somebody's got to get their finger out.
I would absolutely love that, but we'd have to have faith in the refs. Do you know what I mean? Having the right taste and being able. I would like it if someone was in the ref's ear. If it wasn't the ref themselves, but it was a neutral fan who just was able to say in his ear, "Fuck this, give it another 5." Then we can just fuck off.
Aye, so there's no goals for the next 5. It's done.
Yeah, that's plenty.
Or say like next goal wins, and then we can all just get down the pub.
The next question, aka Rab, asks, when's the last time you seen a hedgehog? Are they even real, or were they part of a mass hallucination after the government released loads of LSD into the water supply? He says, again, that's technically 2 questions.
Well, I've had a few encounters over the years with hedgehogs in the wild. Probably the best / most traumatic one was when I moved into this house, which was like 8 years ago. We were getting like an extension built, and they dug a pit. You know, the men came and dug a pit next to my house. I didn't know what it was for. I just went along with it, right? And they dug this pit, and I was like, "Yeah, nice pit, that lads. What are you putting in there then?" And anyway, they dug this pit, and then they just disappeared for a fucking week, like they do, right? Just with no explanation. And one day, I went out and I looked in the pit, and there was a little hedgehog in there. And it was awful because the pit was really deep. So the hedgehog had just obviously fallen into it in the middle of the night when it was just going about its hedgehog business. Because hedgehogs go about their hedgehogging, and they like to do it under the cover of darkness, don't they? They're mysterious fucking hedgehoggery. And so he's off out doing his business, and suddenly, bang, he's in a pit. And I thought, that's awful, actually. We should have done something to, make wildlife aware. And it really looked like it was shitting itself down there. So I had a ring round to some local hedgehog sanctuaries and got some advice. And someone actually just came round. Some hedgehog sanctuary came round, collected it, took it back to nurse it. And actually, my son is a big fan of hedgehogs. He certainly was when he was young. So when we found out about that hedgehog sanctuary, I said, "Son, do you know what? One weekend we'll drive out there and we'll go and visit some of these hedgehogs and see them being nursed back to good health." But I have never fucking done that. So that's the end of that story.
Is it just hedgehogs in the sanctuary, or is it?
Yeah. There's a lot of it.
Mm.
Yeah, like we live in southwest London, but Surrey's not far. We're not far from like the edge of London where you go into more rural bits of Surrey. And Surrey appears to be overrun with hedgehog sanctuaries. They've got a big fucking hedgehog issue down there.
It's not worth going to the sanctuaries. They're full of
No,
pricks.
have you been? Have you been?
Full of pricks.
Hey!
Jesus.
Terrible, eh? I'm here all week. We have hedgehogs now and again, but we live next to like a big pond, so we have more frogs than hedgehogs.
Oh yeah.
But we have like tons and tons of frogs. But every now and again we'll see a wee hedgehog.
Did the frogs ever get inside your house?
Mm-hmm. Did that happen before?
How do you reckon they get in?
They sneak in if we go to the back garden for anything. So we've got a dog.
Bastards.
So if we let the dog out, which is I don't think dogs can eat frogs. So this is like in the summertime, especially when it's raining, which happens a lot here. If you let the dog out the back, you've got to be on your guard because he'll go and try to eat a frog.
And if he eats a frog, they're poisonous to dogs,
I think
are
it's
they?
bad for him. Yeah, I don't think it's a good thing. I kind of looked it up, and varying reports. Some said fatal. Other ones were like, "I'd probably be all right." But my dog's a dickhead anyway with eating stuff. Like he ate a sock and needed an operation, so I didn't trust him with a frog. Like that would be worse than the sock.
He'll eat it as soon as look at it.
Yeah. But when you open the back door, they'll
jump in.
Yeah.
Why? I'd just say, mate, there's nothing for you in here. You're better off in your natural environment. There's nothing you can get. There's nothing for a frog. You know?
Yeah, it's not.
I don't know what frogs eat, but even the shit that we like leave out on the counter, like a bit of bread, I can't see a frog eating that.
Nah. Let's catch it and sort of take the approach for catching a spider and get like a bigger tub.
Yeah.
Put it in and then.
Well, I walked into my old house one evening, and it was a really rainy evening, and there was just this big fat toad just in the hallway staring at me with that kind of, what do you want sort of look. And I'm like, it's my house, mate. More like, what do you want? You're a fucking toad, right? How did you get in here? Because there was no cat flap, nothing. And it was there waiting for me. And it was sort of like, I started to think that when there's really heavy torrential rain, it's almost like frogs are sort of summoned from the ether. Do you know what I mean? They just start appearing everywhere. That's why I asked you how they got into your house, because I never could work out how that toad got into my house. And it was pretty intimidating looking. And I didn't relish having to evict it. But in the end, I caught it in a Tupperware box.
Do you think it was embarrassed? Do you know when you've had that face-to-face and you've kind of gone, he's looking at me and he's quite bold about it, but if the toad's probably sitting there going, oh, fuck, I'm not meant to be here. It's a bit awkward, isn't it? I'm going to need a hand to get out.
He might think, I wasn't expecting them to come home this soon. I was going to have a look around, maybe look in his wife's knicker drawer. Have a little peek about, look at his record collection, judge it. Judge his music taste. Go through, see if they got any Frosties or Crunchy Nut in the kitchen lying about, and then I'll make my way home. But they've come home really early.
Right, next question. Charlie Mulgrew thinks you made that up. Says there's a film called Cocaine Bear coming out in February, which looks ace. What other drug/animal combos would make a good film? I'm thinking a koala on Eckies would be funny. Cocaine Bear. It's funny, since this question came in, my Facebook feed has been filled with cocaine beer.
Yeah,
cocaine
me
bear,
too. Everyone. I feel like I've been tweeted Cocaine Bear trailer like hundreds of times. I mean, obviously it is exciting, but I've been tweeted it so many times and I still haven't watched it. But I think it's, Elizabeth Banks, the actor, sorry. And I think it's her, not Cocaine Bear, but I think that she's in it. No, I think she's made it. I think she's directed it. And I think that I've always liked her anyway. I think she's really funny. And I think that she's literally seen that news story about the bear that ate all the cocaine, which was a news story I was familiar with. I think we've talked about it in the past on Top Flight Time Machine. I mean, it's like a story that I had been fascinated with in the past. And she's seen it. She's sitting around in Hollywood one morning. She's picked up the paper, read a story about Cocaine Bear, and she has gone, I'm going to make a film about that. And what's more, I'm going to call the film Cocaine Bear.
Loads of imagination in the name.
And for that, I really respect her. Really, really respect her. And in answer to this question, I suppose I'd like to see I don't know, a cat on crystal meth or something. That'd be, bit of fun.
Yeah.
An elephant getting stoned and see if its memory stays as good, because that's meant to damage your memory, isn't it? Like,
yeah, over time though,
Yeah.
it would have to be. You'd have to do a
A long film.
long-term
A long film.
experiment.
like the last Avengers, just an elephant getting stoned for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, time lapse. It's the sort of thing I could imagine Attenborough undertaking for a big BBC project. You know, I got this fucking elephant high over a period of 5 years and filmed it on a time lapse. Now it cannot remember a fucking thing.
Did you ever see Channel 4 did a series of like getting old people to cope with the modern world? And they did one on, it was like folk swearing or kind of using modern language, but then they did another one where they sent 3 pensioners, 3 old ladies, to Amsterdam to just get stoned.
Mm.
And it was fucking amazing because
they're
sitting in this cafe and the guys come out and he's giving them it was like cookies or muffins or something, and they've had them, and then he pulls out a bong and they go have a shot in the bomb, and then they skin up some joints for them, and at the end you just see them in a playground, and they're sort of one saying to the other, it's like the floor's all spongy. It was a great idea for a bit of TV. Colin, are you doing an animal drug combo?
No, I don't think I'll bother. They're covered. It need to be a drug. I'm not so good with all the names of the drugs. There would need to be one that's like, there's no point using heroin because that's the one that just makes you fall asleep.
Yeah, he does, but you don't do anything. Yeah.
So it would have to be one like ecstasy or something that's going to get you active.
Mm.
Or a bit of speed. What could go? I don't know.
Like a sloth on speed, like an animal that's not supposed to be speedy.
Tortoise or something.
Yeah, that'd be worth seeing.
Or go the other way and get an already fast animal on it.
Yeah.
And have like absolute,
see if it goes even faster.
Manic.
A leopard on speed.
Colin, we forgot, just talking about memory, we forgot to say happy birthday to St. Christopher.
You did. You did forget.
Happy birthday, St. Christopher. I remember it now. We got a message. I can't remember how many weeks ago was it, and I said,
too long ago.
Remind us at the time, we'll remember. Yeah. And then I can never remember. And then we said before we started tonight, mind us to do it before we start, and forgot, but remembered now. So anyway, right.
It's nothing we want to start doing anyway, is it? Like
no, really.
It's just a fucking nightmare.
Not really.
So, one off.
Fattest Prickus said, Ken how E.T. had a light bulb in his finger. If you had to replace part of your body with a world-changing invention for convenience, what would you have? And you can't have a light bulb because E.T. has that, and you can't have scissors because Edward Scissorhands took them.
Yeah.
You're both thinking about your cock, aren't you?
Obviously, your mind turns immediately to the first phrase that hit my mind was thundercock, but I didn't know what it meant. I just thought. I just wanted to blurt out thundercock, but then I thought I couldn't explain it. It's more of like, it's a concept.
That was the working title for Thundercats. It changed at the last minute.
Yeah, Thundercocks. The studio changed it, didn't they? Last minute, because they said advertisers reject. I don't know, man. I mean, probably I've always liked the idea of like a leg that was like an automatic weapon, like so you kind of lift the leg up and like that. I mean, an arm would sort of be more convenient, but a leg would be more of a surprise, wouldn't it?
You'd fall over, wouldn't you? Like you'd have to have a really strong other leg.
Yeah, you'd have to develop serious sort of balance and core strength.
Or lie down.
It would be worth it. Yeah, you could just lie down and do it, just like that. Cock one leg up. Or you could lean against the tree and shoot behind you, like you were pissing like a dog.
Oh, you can't.
Oh, I never went. My initial reaction was a screwdriver somewhere, but I mean, machine gun sounds more appealing, I suppose. That so he said I couldn't use a light bulb, didn't he? Because I was thinking. So is that any bulb, any light? Aye,
Aye,
because
so ET's got the monopoly on that one, Colin. Yeah.
That's pish, because that is the best one.
Why?
I got this hat. I got this hat. Well, I've got this hat now when I take the dog out in the morning, and it's got the light on it. And well, it's got 3 different settings.
Yeah,
like
that's
bright,
great.
Sort of normal, and then flashing.
Are you just pretending to be a minor?
That's what it's like.
Yeah.
But it's quite useful at the moment. It's pitch black all the time. So ET's claimed that, so I can't have that. Scissors are away. I'll go screwdriver, and I'll go just one of my fingers, the least useful finger. What one's that? Probably the fourth that
it's
one.
the one next to the little finger.
Yeah.
Aye,
the ring finger. That's a shit finger, isn't it?
Screwdriver on that one. Yeah.
Do you remember Wurzel Gummidge? The one with John Pertwee? He just had a load of different heads, didn't he? He could fucking take off any head, put on another one, depending on what mood he was in. Like he had a thinking head, a fighting head, whatever. That was appealing. I don't know if that quite fits into this answer. I just wanted to remind you of Wurzel Gummidge's interchangeable heads.
Inspector Gadget had all that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, he was the king of this, wasn't he?
Yeah, being able to sort of
springs in his feet. Like he had a helicopter propeller came out of his hat.
Oh, actually did.
Yeah,
that's right.
And yet he still managed to fuck pretty much everything up every time, and his niece had to fix it all.
Have you ever seen the Twitter thread about how much of a liability Postman Pat was?
Like how every single fucking delivery goes wrong. Unbelievable.
It's just one boy sort of lists. Oh, I think there's like an episode where they have to get a helicopter out to fix it. It's like how's his boss no fired the cunt yet?
Yeah. He's absolute shit.
Leon Russo said Viagra elephants. He's chipped in with an animal drug combination. An elephant eats a crate full of Viagra and goes on a rampage trying to ride everything and drowning poachers in pools of jizz. Fair enough. 150k on Hanlon Hill said, my baby's got no money, but he's got a tromboline. What's a tromboline?
No idea.
Tromboline?
I think he's misheard lyrics here. So his other questions were, why does Macy Gray wear goggles when you're not there? And why were REM trying to call Cheryl Baker up?
Is this in response to something?
No, this is all misheard lyrics. The REM one, is that's like, call Cheryl Baker up, call Cheryl Baker up.
Sidewinder sleeps tonight. Is that song?
That's it. Yeah. I don't know about the other ones.
I don't know what a tromboline is. And then Charlie Mulgrew thinks she made that. I said, what will she look like with a chimney on her?
What's that from?
That's that song.
What's she going to look like with a chimney on her?
Oh, right.
It sounds better than that when they sing it properly.
That's something about. I seen this on Top of the Pops Extra 2, or one of those ones that they chuck out, and they explained what that means. It's basically a black eye. That's what that means. Nobody knew what it meant at the time, but 20, 30 years later, they've explained it.
I wonder why they bothered writing a song about it, because it's not a nice topic in the first place. You give it its literal meaning like that, Colin. But then, if folk didn't know, it's just fucking stupid, isn't it? What is like a chimney?
That's what everybody assumed at the time.
Yeah. I think somebody would ask you why you're wearing a chimney, or would they just sort of cross the street and avoid you if they saw it?
I've got a mate once. I was working at a TV company, and she rang me up and said, "Got a really good idea for a thing I want to make for you." And I said, "What is it?" And she went, "I just want to go round London and find people on unicycles." She said this as if she knew lots of places where there's people on unicycles, although, London's a big place and there's a lot of buskers and weirdos. And she went, and I just want to go up to them with a film camera and go, "Oi, mate, why the unicycle?" And I said, and then what? She went, "That's it. The whole film is just going up to people on unicycles and going, 'Oi, mate, why the unicycle?' and just seeing what their responses are." And I think there's something quite good in that. I didn't allow her to make it because I didn't think it would have a mainstream appeal. But sometimes you do just have to go up and go, what's with the chimney?
What is that all about?
Yeah.
Right, Fats Prick has said, do worms know that they're underground? Where were they going when they ended up there, or are they all just lost?
Hmm.
Good question.
How does
You're thinking
people
about
think
how
of these
he's
thi-
thinking that, isn't he? Rather than thinking about the
Aye.
question, you're thinking about Alex. And
What is he doing? Like due to his life to be thinking about these kind of things?
The thing is about the worms is you could say they know they're underground, but they're thinking about us. Do humans know that they're overground? They're thinking we're safe and warm and cozy down here. We've got everything we fucking need. We've got all the nutrients we need, and there is hardly any threats to us whatsoever, right? Unless we get a bit too near surface and a crow comes down. Like, think about it. If you could live underground, if you had the physical capacity to, you probably would, because you'd be a lot safer, wouldn't you? So they think that we're the mugs for being above ground with all the threats, and think, there's the weather to factor in. Worms don't have to worry about what weather it is. Makes no odds to them. But one thing I've never understood is like a human man would die underground living in that soil, right? It'd be like you'd drown just like you would in water. Mm-hmm. So do worms have kind of, like, just as fish have gills so they can breathe underwater, do worms have something similar to allow them to breathe in earth?
I don't know how it works, because they sort of pass the earth right through them, don't they? But you can cut a worm in half and it just becomes two worms. It's not like it fucks it up. It just doubles.
Yeah.
So if it has got a breathing system, it needs to have it all the way through.
I feel like worms are very much something from the 80s, because all of my dealings with worms took place in the Thatcher era, right?
Maybe when you were digging, though, Sam, wasn't it?
You are? Yeah, when I was digging every day, it was an occupational hazard. Like the worms that I fucking saw and dealt with. But I think all kids, they would, like, worms were a big thing, weren't they, in your life? And then, you reach adulthood and all the responsibilities and stresses and strains. And I haven't seen a fucking worm in years, lads. Just don't see them anymore, do you? But whereas when I was a kid, I had daily interactions with worms.
They've been phased out.
They have, yeah. Tory cuts.
Right, that was the last question we had time for. If you're a subscriber, we're going to record what episode are we doing? Shortbangers extra with Sam just now, so you'll have an extra episode there. You can subscribe by going to our profile and clicking the wee link on there. Thanks for sending in the questions. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee. I don't drink water, no.